In the world of television, where fiction often meets the chilling edges of reality, few stories have captured the world's attention quite like Murdaugh, Death in the Family. And at the heart of this dramatized retelling stands actress Brittany Snow, stepping into the shoes of journalist Mandy Matney, the woman whose relentless pursuit of truth helped uncover one of the most shocking criminal sagas in modern American history. From the moment Snow was cast, it was clear this would be more than a simple performance. It would be an immersion into the life, mind, and spirit of a journalist who refused to stay. The Murdaugh murders were not just another crime story. They shook the foundation of South Carolina's justice system and sent shockwaves through the nation. Alex Murdaugh, once a powerful lawyer from a respected family dynasty, was convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and son Paul in 2021. What followed was an unraveling web of lies, financial crimes, and small-town corruption. Mandy Matney, then an investigative journalist, became one of the few voices brave enough to question the system that had long protected the Murdaugh name. Through her Murdaugh Murders podcast, she exposed inconsistencies, followed leads ignored by others, and brought nationwide attention to the case. For Brittany Snow, portraying Matney wasn't simply about understanding a journalist's job. It was about understanding courage in the face of fear. In preparation for the role, Snow didn't rely solely on scripts or direction. She went straight to the source. The actress reached out to Matney herself, initiating long conversations that went far beyond surface-level details. At first, Snow told People magazine, "I was talking to her a lot about the character, about how I wanted to encapsulate her and her essence." But as time went on, Snow's curiosity deepened. She began asking Matney specific questions about the case, the victims, and even moments of doubt or danger the journalist had faced. "I was hoping that over time she would slip and give me some insider information," Snow joked. And she did sometimes. It was really fun to get to know her. What began as professional research turned into a personal exchange of passion, perspective, and shared humanity between actor and subject. For Snow, authenticity was key. Yet, she made one thing clear from the very beginning: this would not be an imitation. "I was never going to do an imitation of Mandy," she explained. "That would be doing a disservice to her, to me, and to my performance." Instead, she focused on capturing Matney's essence, her determination, her empathy, and the quiet strength beneath the surface. In Snow's view, portraying a real person means finding emotional truth rather than perfect mimicry. She observed Matney's mannerisms, her tone, and even the way she expressed skepticism or relief in conversation, weaving these subtle traits into her performance. It was, as Snow described it, an homage, not a copy. Murdaugh, Death in the Family dives deep into the tragedy that destroyed one of South Carolina's most powerful families, but it also highlights the role of the press in exposing the truth. Mandy Matney was not a detached observer. She was a woman taking on a dangerous story that powerful people wanted buried. For Snow, this dynamic was what drew her to the project. "I'm such a fan of true crime," she said, "but more than that, I'm such a fan of Mandy and her reporting." Snow had followed Matney's work long before being cast and admired her relentless drive for justice. This was an important part to play within a very dark story, she reflected. She was spearheading justice and the truth when a lot of corruption was going on. The series, which features Jason Clarke, Patricia Arquette, J. Smith Cameron, and Johnny Berchtold as members of the Murdaugh family, doesn't just recreate headlines. It delves into the psychology of deceit and legacy. Snow's performance stands out as the moral compass of the narrative, grounding the audience in the perspective of someone determined to expose what others preferred to ignore. Critics have already noted how her portrayal gives the story a sense of urgency and empathy, reminding viewers that beyond every courtroom and headline are real people risking their reputations and sometimes their safety for the truth. Snow's portrayal of Matney bridges the gap between cold facts and emotional reality. Preparing for such a complex role meant emotional as well as intellectual work. Snow immersed herself in hours of Matney's podcast recordings, observing not just the words, but the rhythm of her storytelling, the pauses, the frustration, the quiet resolve. She said she could sense the emotional exhaustion that comes from confronting darkness day after day, and she wanted to honor that. The actress also studied journalism ethics and procedures to better understand how investigative reporters build trust with sources and verify facts under pressure. "There's a rhythm to real journalism," Snow said, "and I wanted to make sure that came through." This dedication helped her deliver a performance that feels grounded and believable, avoiding sensationalism in favor of truthfulness. But perhaps what makes Brittany Snow's approach most compelling is her empathy, a quality she shares with the woman she portrays. Both have spoken about the emotional toll of living within stories of tragedy. Snow admitted that stepping into Mandy's world wasn't easy. "It's heavy material," she acknowledged. "You're dealing with murder, loss, betrayal, and a community trying to heal." Yet, despite the darkness, she found inspiration in Matney's resilience. "She was a light in all of this," Snow said. "And I wanted people to see that even when everything feels corrupt or lost, there are people who still believe in doing the right thing." Her words echo the same moral strength that drove Matney to pursue the story, even when it endangered her career and peace of mind. As Murdaugh, Death in the Family streams on Hulu, audiences are discovering not just a retelling of crime and scandal, but a deeper story about courage, truth, and human conviction. Brittany Snow's portrayal of Mandy Matney has been praised as both heartfelt and restrained, a reminder that sometimes the heroes of true crime are not the ones in uniforms or on the witness stand, but those behind the microphone, asking the hard questions. In embodying Matney's spirit, Snow brings to life a woman who transformed journalism into a form of justice, and in doing so, she reminds us that the search for truth, though exhausting and at times dangerous, remains one of the most powerful forces in storytelling, both on screen and in real life.